Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Solo Epoxy Art. And today we will make silicone rings. I call them Solo-rings. I've been making them myself for some time now. They help me with technique 3D flowers. Many people asked me how to make them, and today I will show you. So, if you see, this is a result of solo ring. See? The flowers don't stick together. There are no rings here. If you see, the flowers are stuck together well. That's the big difference between solo ring and without solo ring 3D flowers making. You can make any shape. Excuse me? Here is my dog. Here is an example for a jellyfish and some more example. For lilac I used 3 solo rings separate. Anyway, solo rings give great possibilities. I have silicone and yogurt lids. That's everything what we need for the rings. Lids of different diameters I can choose for my work. There is in the lids there are lisses or hole. I use cups also if they have a gap or hole. The height of 3 or 4 millimeters is required. I don't need anything higher than 3-4 millimeters. Well, shall we begin? I mix the silicone, doesn't matter which brand, and I pour into the hole, into the gap, not too fast. Fill the gap completely, but only the gap, not higher. I hope you can see it well. This video is very long. That's why I turn on time-lapse. And we do the same with another lids. I will try to show it closer. If you see, silicone not higher than the gap. Well, the silicone has hardened. The rings are very easy to remove. And they're quite strong. I can use them again and again several times. Surface smooth enough and it will stick well to the mold. Let's take a small mold. Let's clean it from dust with a tape. And just the same way clean it our solo ring with a tape, this side and another side. And just put the ring on the mold, press down a little and that's it. Nothing more. And you can see the ring is holding very well. And all what remains for us to do is fill it. And now we will do an experiment. I took 2 identical molds. We will make one with solo rings and another one without solo rings. Same resin, same pigments and same proportion. First we clean our mold and we put on our solo rings. I clean the dust from the mold and from the rings always. Then they stick very better. we give any shape for our rings. For example, I made a different shape for jellyfish. Here I am making just a ring shape. It holds up well. And we start pouring as usual. I'm waiting for the resin to be at the right temperature, between 31 and 32 degrees. And only then do I start to paint it. I took 10 grams of resin and I painted with my white pigment, which I made myself. I have a video on the channel how to make it. You can always watch if you want. Meanwhile, I poured the resin into the rings, made the middle with pebbles, and now I take my pigment and I drip 3 drops for 10 milliliters. We drip alcohol ink, doesn't matter which brand. I have Pinata. And we drip another color. I will use a silicone brush to mix our colors. I forgot to add the yellow stones. I'm doing it now. I want a yellow center. And we begin to draw a flower. Mix it very well. Prepare a napkin. I use it always. Draw and wipe spatula. Every time draw and wipe. Draw and wipe. This will take some time, so I will turn on time-lapse. If you see, the resin doesn't run away. The rings hold her. Just little bit correcting the drawing with a little stick. Well, you see that the resin running off just a little bit. No problem, I put the spatula on the ring. The spatula will press the ring to the mold. Voila! So, and we begin the second mold just the same way. Temperature of our resin between 31 and 32 degrees. And I start painting. I took 10 milliliters of resin and the rest I pour into the mold. I took just the same 3 drops for 10 milliliters. Mix it very well. We make the center of our flowers with the stones. I'm looking just the same place as our first mold, first flowers. We will do our experiment in the same way. Dripping ink, the same drops as in the first mold, but you see the ink is spreading, and we know why. Because they are not held by rings. Let's look at the result of experiment. Mix colors with a silicone brush. And we begin to draw and flower just the same way. Draw and wipe with a napkin. Draw and wipe, draw and wipe. We can already see the difference. The same amount of drops of ink, the same amount of pigment. Well, but the size of the flowers is much bigger. Both techniques are good. I like it with and without rings. 3D bloom technique is always beautiful. And you can choose which technique is better for yourself. So, my resin has hardened, and we take off our solo rings. Be careful so that the flower does not come off from mold. And voila, one ring is off. And now let's fill the empty space with resin. Just the same height as the flowers, not higher, but the same high. And pour a little bit on the flowers. Our second mold is ready. For the last layer, I will work with the resin from Art Pro transparent. I took 300 milliliters, divided into 4 cups, each cup 75 milliliters, and painted white color Inuki from Octopus ink, second color grape purple from Etter-art resin inks, third color Amaranthi and Coral. I mix it together, just the same resin ink from Etter-art, and my fourth color Comparative, just the same resin ink from Etter-art. We pour one after another into the center. Well, this is my next day. And that's it. And we are ready for our first mold. We make the same way. Divide 300 milliliters into 4 cups. Each cup, each color 75 milliliters. And we pour in exactly the same way. Well, it's our next day. The resin has hardened. And now unmolding time. The middle did not close. The room temperature was very hot, but that's not a problem. I will draw in the center. Well, let's see. And voila. And I can say, wow! Just look at these flowers. It's very beautiful. Just a beautiful form. I like it. And our second one. And voila. Wow. You see the difference? With solo rings and without solo rings. Big difference. I like both of them. In the first mold, the center did not close. I will draw from the back and from the front sides. As always, I paint with a gouache, this gold one. I will take a picture just from my head. You can improvise. Just find a picture on the internet or in a magazine. Doesn't matter. This is the result of our experiment. You can use silicone Solo-rings or not, doesn't matter. The main things is that you do it with pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for being on my channel. Take care of yourself and, as always, bye bye.